Hi there, my name is Sarah Haddad. I am presenting to you my original contribution for my capstone for ESL and bilingual education. It is entitled Culturally Responsive Teaching, and this is brought to you again by the American College of Education. To begin, what is culturally responsive teaching? Cultural responsive teaching, or CRT, as you'll hear me refer to it later, is the understanding of cultural aspects of students in the classroom and taking these aspects into consideration in application when writing a curriculum or creating lessons and assessments. So, some important aspects of this presentation include why is culturally responsive teaching important? The second being the relevance of CRT to English language learners, and then the application of CRT into the classroom. So, let's begin with number one. Why is culturally responsive teaching so important? It's so important because it leads to the academic success of all students, especially those who are predisposed to academic achievement gaps, such as, and it is not limited to students who fall into racial and or ethnic minority groups, English language learners as well. But it also helps students activate prior knowledge and make connections to the world outside of their school. Making connections is a huge part of understanding concepts on a more broad level and a more in-depth level as well. So why is culturally responsive teaching necessary for English language learners or ELLs? Multicultural classrooms are becoming more diverse in all areas of the United States at all age levels. What I mean by this is we see a huge increase of the Hispanic population in the United States. So by 2025, which is less than 5 years from now, 1 in 4 public school students in the U.S. will be of Hispanic descent. That is 1 in 4 students in the K through 12 public school system. At my school alone, we've had our population of ELL learners who it has tripled in the past 3 years. The other aspect is culturally responsive teaching is engaging, which ignites intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation meaning um, igniting that self curiosity, that self interest, rather than focusing on just the grade, but for the actual desire to learn the content. So this aspect here, how can teachers make the classroom more culturally responsive? We begin by taking time to get to know your students, not just understanding your students as students in the classroom that you see maybe 1 to 2 hours a day, but maybe as somebody just as a person in the outside world. So what do they like to do for fun? Who do they spend their time with? What music are they listening to? Taking that time, especially in the beginning of the year, to get to know who your students are as people. The second, inviting the community to your school. Having activities where a community can take part in school activities, such as maybe theatrical programs where people can volunteer their time or materials in order to help after school activities, or where after school activities and students get to take time to show the community what's going on in the schools, etc. Contacting home is really important for this as well. And then having parents volunteering and helping within the school is also a great way to bring that community into the school. Letting students use their first language to help make connections is important as well. Um, Connecting again, activating that prior knowledge, using those connections again. We're talking about making connections to help with the acquisition of their second language. Number four, creating lessons with students' cultures in mind. Thinking about what cultures are celebrated. If we have students of different religions, talking about those religions and those religious holidays. Using culturally appropriate names as well. Number five, we have using real world problems to solve via collaboration. Collaboration, a big keyword here, talking where students get to connect and learn information from their other students, knowing who else knows, hearing the prior knowledge of their classmates and getting to express what they know in order to help their group solve a real world problem, something that's relevant to the student. In conclusion, culturally responsive teaching requires a lot of front work, but the interest of the student creates academic success that leads to the closing of the achievement gap. Culturally responsive teaching is worth it. If you would like more information on culturally responsive teaching, this is a really great website, which is colorincolorado.org/culturally-responsive/resources. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.